Hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to F1 2020 My Team Career Mode, here for the Monaco Grand Prix, and it's a full wet race. I think that really needs no introduction there. We're breezing through the practice programs quite easily, but we've been thrown into the deep end. At this point in time when this was recorded, I'd only done, I think, one wet weather session, and that was Chinese Grand Prix practice, I think. Yeah, it's going to be an interesting race. Qualifying one we got through pretty easily. Monaco is a very good track for the player, and I feel like whilst I'm not massively consistent at Monaco, I have a good setup for it, and I'm able to do well at it when I put my mind to it, and I definitely have those. I'm getting P2. But I mean, this was recorded a while ago, and I am running 103 AI on this, I think, which has since been recently upped. So you see, we've come across line in Q3 now. We actually go pole with a 1 minute 10.2. It's just incredible. And yeah, I know the difficulty's not as high, but I really wasn't expecting to be on the pace during this Grand Prix. And you see, we've cut to the end of Q3 now. We've rattled through qualifying quite quickly because nothing much really went on. When getting out of Q1 and is in itself is a massive achievement. Get out of Q2 as well, that was a big achievement. But we currently hold down provisional pole position, and this can't be happening. I know it's a low AI difficulty, and like I said, it has been recently upped because this was just this is an outlier. For some reason I've always been strong on Monaco whilst not feeling strong at Monaco. We're currently going out for a second lap. We are down on our delta as we go through the Nouvelle chicane. Get a pretty decent run over there. We're making up sometimes we run through to back. Absolute ridiculously fast corner, you chuck it in there so quickly, and I don't think we're going to improve as we come across, as we go across the second sector split. We're about 3 temps down as we're going through the final corner now. We actually tap the wall on the inside and we break our front wing. So that's that lap in the bin, but we've actually come pole.
Fantastic.
How? This car, it should not. The downforce and chassis are so poor, yet we've just gone and nabbed pole position in only our 6th race, I think, 6th or 7th race of the season. And yeah, that's that was definitely a surprise. Again, out of Q1 and seeing where we were, I generally thought we could challenge for maybe Q2. But we're on pole by nearly 2 tenths of a second over the Red Bulls. That's just incredible. So I'm happy with that. Very, very happy. But the race is a completely different kettle of fish. I've got to concentrate for an hour, which is difficult. And B, that's happening.
To Monaco was like riding a bicycle around your living room, and it's not hard to see what he means by that. There's no more prestigious a Grand Prix victory than Monaco, but also none so challenging. We already see the lowest average speeds of the season here at the Circuit de Monaco, and they'll be even lower in the difficult conditions today. 19 corners make up this famous 2-mile track, and with the rain, it'll be even harder than usual to get that critical heat into the tyres. Don't be surprised if we see a safety car at some point during the Grand Prix. Joining us today to oversee all the thrills and spills, it's Anthony Davidson. And great to see you. How are you feeling about the race today, and how are the circuit conditions from what you've seen?
Well, the surface looks clean enough, but I'm a little bit worried about the track temperature. It's pretty cool out there, which could give some teams difficulties when it comes to keeping their tyres in the right operating window. The cars out there that work their tyres hard and really put a lot of energy through them, they'll be the ones that are better off.
Let's run you through the driver grid order for today's exciting race. Red lines up on pole position, and Alexander Albon lines up alongside. Looking down the rest of the grid, we have Hamilton, Verstappen, Sebastian Vettel, and Bottas, Leclerc, Ricciardo, Fiat, and Lance Stroll, Ocon, Perez, Kimi Raikkonen, and Sainz, Gasly, Grosjean, Kevin Magnussen, and Antonio Giovinazzi, Norris, Aitken, Russell and Nicholas Latifi. It's almost time for the lights to go out, so let's head down to the track and get this Grand Prix underway.
So, as you see, there's the grid. Decided to shut up for once through the intro to the race. It's raining quite a lot. It looks like England on a summer's day. Just to put it in perspective for people, it's going to be tough. It's going to be very, very tough to keep this car and keep the other cars behind, to keep this car in a straight line at least. I don't know how it handles in a fully wet race. I don't know how it handles in Monaco in the wet. Monaco, the wet's a completely different kettle of fish, as I've said. I mean, we're under fuel in the car initially by 5 laps, and then I decide I think 5 laps is a bit too much. As you see, the race there is a 2-stop. We could potentially stretch it to a 1-stop, but I think I'm going to play it safe. As you see, that I am toying with the idea, but our tyres will be completely shot by the end of it. So we are going to keep it as a 2-stop. We have a chance of winning this, so I'm going to play it safe. We'll get ready for the start of the Grand Prix. 3 laps under fuel, putting the diff all the way up to get the best possible start we can do, and it's lights out and away we go. We actually get a pretty decent second phase of launch. It was absolutely fishtailing all the way to the first corner. Alex Albon got a really good initial start, and then we got a better second phase to start. You see, we're slowly winding back the diff and going through the first few corners. It's very, very touch and go. I'm absolutely flying all over the place with this car, but we're still holding on to P1. This is absolute scenes. This is, as we go through the Lowe's hairpin. There's a massive gap from maybe P12, P13, P14 maybe, I'm not sure. Back, like, the group of cars at the end of my train are currently have just exited Portier, I think. Anyway, there's a massive gap. There's at least like I don't know, maybe a 10-second air gap between the racing point at the back of this train and the Renault. I'm assuming the Renault has damage, or at least someone had damage, and they've slowed the pack up quite a lot. As you can see, obviously we're setting purple sectors this lap 1, but we're still holding on to P1 coming through the final corner to start lap 2. As Alex Albon pits, he must have got damage off something, I don't know what, but that's his race well and truly down the drain. And now we've got Hamilton and Verstappen bearing down as 2 of the best wet weather drivers in F1. But we're actually pulling out a gap. The gap's now 1.3 seconds. We, Chungus Khan Racing, could have a potential victory on the cars, but we've got to keep it out of the barriers for another 38 laps, and that's easier said than done, really. Monaco is difficult at the best of times, and that's in bone dry conditions. This is far from bone dry. Honestly, I would be better with a set of oars going around this track. I am just so glad I am not at the back of a group of cars, because then I would be able to see diddly squat. As we have a massive moment through the hairpin there, that could have been curtains already for our race. But luckily, this game is to have another massive moment. This is questionable as to whether we're actually going to make it to our pit stop, let alone the end of the race. But I feel like in this year's game, compared to 2019, I'm a lot better in the wet. So let's see if the fruit of the labours actually do come true. I mean, the chances of us winning this are pretty low, but also high. As you can see, Hamilton actually set the fastest lap. He's a second quicker than us that lap, so doesn't actually look like we're going to hold on to it. We cut to lap 18, literally nothing went on for those laps because of one main factor. It's Monaco, right? Hamilton has the pace. He will always have the pace. He's in a Mercedes. We're in at this point, I think we're like second or third best, or third worst car, sorry, So you have oh, that was close. That was a massive snap roaster. Our rear tyres are on 60%. Our tyres are dead. We've used the worst engine components we have because it's Monaco, and there's one key defining feature of this track. You could be the slowest car, but if you have track position, you have a very good chance of winning. We saw this in 2018 with Daniel Ricciardo losing a load of engine power as we come to the pits, the end of lap 19. Halfway through this race, was still in the lead, with Daniel Ricciardo lost so much engine power that he was seconds a lap slower, but he still won because it's Monaco. It's one thing to close up, it's another thing to overtake, especially in wet weather conditions where there is no DRS. So the strength of the Mercedes is through the corners and on the straight, but in the wet it's pretty much neutralised. We have a Mercedes power unit in the back of our car, so that gets us on relatively equal footing, but the rain is a massive levelling playing field. As you see, everyone makes their stops. That's probably the worst described thing I've ever said in my life. What I'm trying to say is most of the Mercedes advantages are mitigated by the rain, because that's what the rain does. As you can see, we're still holding on. It's lap 25, nothing has happened. Hamilton's 6 seconds behind us. This always happens. The second half of a race after we've made our first pit stop, we're always faster than what we are in the first stint. And it's shown. Hamilton was up our gearbox. He might as well have been sat in the car with us, but now he's fallen back. There's a massive air gap. I mean, there's going to be some shenanigans going on in a couple of laps time when I catch up to this massive glut of cars going through the Mirabel hairpin at this point as we go purple in sector 1. I believe this is our fastest lap of the race, so we're actually going to continue staying on board for this. But yeah, if we have one chance this season, or at least with this car as it is, to win, it's at Monaco. Because, you know, there's places where you struggle to get one car through, let alone two. And all we've got to do is keep him behind on the straights, which we can do, because we have a Mercedes power unit, but it's... I don't know, I'm just bewildered by the fact that we're able to keep it as we are, as we've come purple sector 1 and 2. Absolutely flying over the second part of the swimming pool chicane, and we're closing over to the back of figures Esteban and Ocon. Yeah, my teammate. The team is in 21st position, bless him. Jack's not having a very good day. But I guess that balances out because we're having a very good day. As we come across our fastest lap on 1:25.3. I think that's... I don't know whether Houghton or that was another big moment. Oh, this is not good. As we're approaching back, Marcus on lap 27. I think that lap was like 1 or 2 seconds faster than what Hamilton did as his best lap. I can't remember where it changed during the pit stops. But this is something, this is a drive that you'd see out of a Hollywood film, like something off of Rush. But for us to do this in a backmarker car, see we get past Ocon relatively well, now close up to the back of Jack Aitken, and I hope he lets us go through relatively quickly. As you can see, we have so much more grip. I don't know whether it's a setup thing, or whether they ran a dry setup for qualifying, but I'm using 11-11 wings. This is full blown wet setup, and we just go right around the outside of Jack. But we are coming up to a group. There's still 4 more cars we need to get past. Albon, Norris, both the Williams cars. So our hard work could be undone. We know what Codemasters AI are like, except it should just be artificial. There is no intelligence in the AI whatsoever. Izzy Albon actually pulls off the side, so fair enough to him. He's had an atrocious race. You can see, like, my point's just reiterated here about Albon. He's in like the 3rd best car. Albon should be at the front winning this. He's in a Red Bull of all things around a wet Monaco. He would be one of the ones you'd bet heavily on to win, and he had to pit at the end of lap 1, and he's still in 20th place as we breeze past Norris, basically doing a carbon copy of what we did to Albon. As you can see now, both the Williams are battling. It's going to be Russell up next. So let's hope that we can get through unscathed. Let's say. I'm I was in awe. Going through most of the races, like I'll concentrate, but sometimes I won't put, I don't think I blinked throughout this entire race. You see, we get past George Russell, but he actually tries to come back at us there, and we lose a bit of our front wing. What was he doing? We were past him, and he tries to come back to us. You see, we're flicking to Russell now. We're alongside him. He's tried to unlap himself around the outside of Saint Devote, and I restarted this. I flashbacked. Now, yes, it's not completely, like, I shouldn't have done that. You see, we do the same again, and he does exactly the same thing again. But this is the first flashback I've used. As you can see, I come back on and I absolutely take out Hamilton here. But the reason I've used the flashback is because this is not my fault. Alright, like in a league race, if you get hit at the back by another driver, you also get a penalty under safety car, because that makes sense. Like this is the AI being dumb. As you can see, again, I'm in bewilderment as what George is actually trying to do. He's a lap down. Like, why on earth he would even be attempting to do that? As you can see, on our 4th attempt we actually managed to dispatch him. That's the only reason I use a flashback, is because of the AI, and that's the only time I'll ever use a flashback, is if the AI just absolutely ploughed me. Like, well, if they absolutely ploughed me into Narnia, then I probably wouldn't. But as you can see, we cut out 38. We were 11.5 seconds ahead of Hamilton. I'm really not, like, after the first stint, nothing much really happened apart from that shenanigans with Russell. But I was annoyed I had to use a flashback, but I wasn't gonna let the AI's ridiculously special coding system like screw me out of this victory. And I hope you can understand that, because it's not even like I've squeezed him. I'm actually ahead of him, and he's just decided, you know what, you see that corner, you're not making it, son. That's why I used it. I mean, if there are people who object, then I will, like, retire myself out of a race when I'm leading it at some point, and that's a promise. If I'm leading the race at some point at the end of this season or next season, that I will retire out of it to balance it out. But as you see, we're on the last lap now, and we're making sure we get home and dry, because, you know, I'm not, if I crash now, then that's me, and I will retire, not use a flashback. But I don't. But I think 39 laps, we should be okay. So we're coming 2 more corners to go, and we're going to come home with a pretty dead set of wet tyres to complete a ridiculously long race. This was like an hour and a half of my life that I didn't get back, but it was worth it. P1, 7 races in, a new team, and we've won. Absolutely incredible. I'm so ecstatic with that victory. Despite Russell trying his utmost best to take me out, and me having to use some questionable means, to say the least, which I'm really not proud of, but you know, I feel like I had to. Like I said, there'll be those who object, but we've won. I'm happy. My team have got some absolutely dank-ass turtlenecks on. I'm proud of them for that. You can imagine it's very cold in Monaco today, but P1, it wasn't even like a close one. It was a absolutely dominant victory, and I'm very happy with it. Probably the most difficult, or at least the second most difficult set of circumstances you can be. Like, Singapore in the 4 wets is equally as difficult as this, but Monaco, it's not my favourite track, but I'm very happy for this to be my first ever victory. The duel in the F1 calendar, the win that everybody wants, really, and it's mine in our first season, which I'm very happy with. I assume that was my race engineer there getting absolutely soaked through with champagne and indeed a bunch of water coming from the sky. But yeah, P1. Wow, I'm very happy with that. Definitely how I wanted to go about the first third or so of this season.
And now let's take a look at the driver's
As you can see there, we get the fastest lap as well, so we get a full complement of 26 points. Everyone basically made a position except for myself and Raikkonen because of Albon. And I feel bad for Albon, you know, he deserved to do well, but as you can see, like, this again reiterates my point of Monaco. Hamilton, like everyone, it goes, the grid was 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Everyone except from one driver that retired, I think his 11, Esteban Ocon, had a mare on the first, so I think he got damaged as well. Everyone made positions apart from my teammate Ocon and Albon, but there's hardly any overtaking. And I feel like that, like in the dry, we may have had to defend a bit more, and it would have been a lot more difficult. But it wasn't dry; it was wet, and we catapulted ourselves up into 8th place in the championship. Now on 30 points, we could potentially be challenging the likes of Albon and I can't remember who's ahead of us now, but maybe potentially challenge for at least 6th or 7th in the drivers' standings. That was constructors. We're in 8th. As you can see there, race director, but everyone went on to double wet stint. As you can see there, Ocon got illegal blocking. Don't know who for. I don't think he blocked me particularly much, but nothing mentioning there of Russell's shenanigans. We're currently leading the rivalry now, 20 points to 17 with 3 races remaining. Hopefully we'll be able to beat Giovinazzi. We've now boosted our team acclaim to level 8, I think. Yes, it is. I'm nearly at level 6, closing down about nearly exactly a level behind Jack at this point. And we get a thick amount of money for that. We did 132 laps as a team this weekend. And we made a decent amount of money. We're on $1,069, which I don't understand why we're using dollars if Codemasters is a British company, but then again, I don't understand most things, apparently. As you can see there, one of our upgrades failed. I believe that was a downforce upgrade, which won't go on for Azerbaijan, which is annoying. We have to renew one of our sponsors, and so we're going to be looking through what we could achieve. Score 3 Constructors' Championship points during a race weekend. That is potentially doable, but I think we are going to go relatively easy on this. Atlantic has a good weekly income and a good goal bonus. Qualifying P10 or better, that's not going to happen, especially with the AI's overpowered us in qualifying. Alkene's Energy, after this race, complete a race without climbing another car, I don't trust that we'll be able to do that. So we're just going through all of them now, but I think we do end up going for Atlantic again. It doesn't give us the biggest weekly income or the biggest goal bonus or the longest contract time, but it's good middle ground. You know, likelihood is we'll get it every single time, even at Belgium, which will be the shortest race on the calendar. We might just get it. But yeah, it's probably the best one for us to go for as a starting out team. I'm not going to get ahead of myself and be like, oh yeah, we've won a race, we can go and win the next race in Azerbaijan, because that's going to be completely different to this circumstance in Monaco. I'd say this is like, even regard like mitigating the fact that we had it on 103 AI, which has been up to I think 108 or 109 I'm running now. It's definitely an outlier. Like, I wouldn't expect this until maybe even Singapore, if that was full wet. Maybe Belgium, would be my next best chance to win a race, but I don't know. We've just got to keep developing, keep getting money, keep getting... I actually go for pay night or you know what? It's been called pay nights, just pain. That's it, really. As you can see, we're having an engine upgrade. That engine upgrade actually doesn't really do much, but the update to the game did. This is filmed before the actual updates came into fruition, where Ferrari got, well, slapped back down to like the 4 worst cars. It was a really, really heavy impact. And Mercedes got a massive engine buff. But we're just applying some activities now, trying to boost our money and Jack's statistics. We've got 4 more days left. We could either do the 2 2-day events or 1 3-day event. We're looking, the aerodynamic upgrade looks good, but we do a power department focus. So that's going to give us a bonus of 30 resource points and a bonus to power development. As you can see, we get a chassis upgrade, which is going to help us. Chassis is probably the best thing you can go for. It helps in every aspect: top end speed, cornering, tyre wear, so on and so forth. And there we go. Coming up to round 8, which will be the Azerbaijan Grand Prix, which will be in the next episode. And yeah, that's it for today. Leave your thoughts in the comments about, should I have flashbacked on that incident with Russell, or should I have just run with the wing damage? I'd love to know your thoughts on that. You know my thoughts for it, but that'll be this episode for today. Please do like, share and subscribe, and I'll catch you all for the next episode very soon.